Classic. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Blood Bowl. I am the Illusionist, and once more we're playing in the GITP League. This week we have returned to the Ironbeards, and we're playing against Amazons. Measured Response are currently number 2 in the league, behind Euphonic Cadence, the Pro Elf team we played a couple of games ago. And like the Pro Elf team, they have yet to lose a match. Scary stuff. They're considerably not as expensive as the Dwarves, a TV value of 1,400 against 1,510, thank you to my Death Roller. We're playing in the Crypt, underground. If you've never seen this one before, it's a very strange place since the Amazons are at home and yet they actually live in the jungle. Anyway, the Amazons, Measured Response, they have failed the toss and the Dwarves have chosen to receive. So, with a little bit of luck, this first half is going to start out very, very similar to the last two games you've seen so far. I'm sorry if that gets a bit dull, but this is how Dwarves work. What we're going to do is receive the ball in the back of the field, pick it up with our runner, move him up as far as we can, and then surround him in a cage. And slowly grind our way up the pitch. We can dodge left and right if we have to, try and get around the biggest roadblocks put in our way, but generally speaking it's become to be known on the forums as the pain train. All aboard, full steam ahead. Actually coined by the coach of Measured Response, actually, having watched the last couple of games. We'll see if they can figure out a way to deal with the Dwarven pain train, or if they can... I can't even think of a decent metaphor. If they can be tied to the tracks and run over. I've been watching a lot of Red Dead Redemption lately. If you get the achievement for that, it's kind of funny. A little bit evil, but you know, it's all good. So we've got our first skill up on the Death Roller, Multiple Block. I have waited a while to get this skill. There's surprisingly few things you can get on a Death Roller. They have only access to the Strength skills as a default, and they have most of them already. Mighty Blow, Stand Firm, Break Tackle. Hopefully I'll put it to good use. However, as it stands, I'm going to be going first, so all my blockers have Guard and Stand Firm. So effectively this line is at least Strength 4, it's probably even Strength 5 in the middle, against Strength 3 line women with no skill ups. I'm going to put the Death Roller to one side and use it to make a blitz, and have these guys take down the front line as he is. Quickly sorting out the Dwarves at the back. I'm not actually going to leave the Troll Slayer there, but the game's very finicky about having people in the outfields, and I'll just drop them in the middle. As we've said in some previous games, you don't necessarily want all your players up on the line to begin with, but the Amazon player is set up in a very defensive formation. I might as well, since I'm going first, move up and get as close as I can and try and get some blitzers going, which I particularly want to be doing, as every Amazon player on the pitch has the dodge skill. They come with it by default. I need to get the best use out of tackle. With my pitiful movement 5, there's not much more I can do about it. Brilliant coaching. The Amazons get another reroll. Very, very close to landing it in my end zone, but it touches back to my runner. Armok, Axebeard Axe, star player. Which is actually ideal for me. It's exactly where I wanted it to go. And it makes my life so much easier. If I can take down this line. Oh, okay. So despite what I just said about using my blockers, I'm showing off. I really, really want to use my Death Roller. He multiple blocks and just pushes two people back. That was pretty pathetic, actually. However, we've cleared some space. I can always make a blitz anywhere I want after pushing this lady down the line as far as I can. Again, that's why I pulled my Troll Slayer in close. Even if this guy ends up here with another push, he does, I still get a third, fourth and final shot at taking him down. There we go, defender down. Not actually a problem, because now I've got the front line of my cage. and the sides to come around if I want to. I kept my blitzers at the back because they're agility 3 with reasonable movement allowance. If the ball is scattered left or right, I could use them to try and pick it up too. There we go, knock a couple of the girls down. And moving back, because again, I don't want him too far forward. It makes it slightly hard for his catch to get all the way around to where my runner's going to be. Which he can't quite do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's 3 or 4 dodges to do so. And I'm going to have my blitzer in the way, because he's going over here. But better safe than sorry. A couple of interesting facts about the Ironbeards. As of this match, we are 6th in the league of 14 teams. We're out of the playoffs, and we're facing the number 2 team, who are Measured Response. So there's a lot riding on this. If I can pull off a win, not only do I jump up to, I think it was 3rd place, so I'm back in the playoffs, I will also hand the first loss to the Amazons, which is a big morale boost for me. And it also slows down their advance up the table. I don't want the 1 and 2 places winning too many matches, really. Since I'm mid-table, I can afford to have them lose a couple of matches. It makes life easy for me to catch them. With only so many people being able to overtake me, it's not a big problem. Having said that, at this point in the league, I have only so many more games left, and 2 of them are against players who could potentially leapfrog me and keep me out of the playoffs. We have Measured Response here today, the Amazon team. We also have the Imperial Space Corps in 2 matches' time. They are humans. They've suffered a run of bad loss. I had to replace a number of key players, including an ogre, but they are currently 3rd in the league, so they're a tough team. They've got a lot of experience, and that's going to be a hard match. And we also have on the distant horizon, our last match of the season is going to be Vampires. I'm in 2 minds about that match. The Vampires traditionally are kind of slow to get going, but once they've got lots of star player points on their Vampire players, they are very tough and very dangerous. And it comes down to who's rolling better dice. If the Vampires have got lots of bloodthirst rolls failed, and they can't control their team, they quickly lose numbers, and can be overwhelmed even their Strength 4, Strength 5 block players, which they undoubtedly have by now. However, if they're rolling hot, and their Vampires behave themselves, you've got an entire team, and essentially up to 6 really good Strength 4 block, dodge, and all sorts of horrible skill players going pretty much wherever they want. I'm going to have to try and pull ahead for that match if I'm going to have any chance at all of getting to the playoffs. Roughly speaking, if I lose this match against Measured Response, I can win 2 matches and draw a 3rd and still end up in the playoffs if I'm really lucky. That depends how the dice roll for other teams, of course. But for safety's sake, I need to win at least 3 of my next 4 games. That will almost guarantee me the 3rd place and will guarantee me the 4th place in the league, barring any some sort of horrific tragedy, at least insofar as I would interpret it. So the Dwarves get on the run. We were blocked off on the right, as I expected them to do, so we weave left. And I'm not too worried about this line woman. Traditionally, I don't want people in contact with my cage because they perform an assist. Good luck getting something out of 1 assist against a Strength 7 stand firm death roller. Worst case scenario, that thing gets knocked down and doesn't move. You still can't get into the cage around him. Despite being an agile team, Amazons aren't really key candidates to have skills like Leap. They're only agility 3. Despite having plenty of rerolls, you don't necessarily want to risk more dice rolls than you have to. Having said that, they have 4 blitzers, all starting out with dodge and block, which are really good combinations, and that Troll Slayer is in a really bad place right now. He survived, thanks to his blocker pal over here, providing the assist, but he's in for a really bad time this turn coming. Wow, okay. Maybe not that bad. I mean, he's armor 8, he's got block, thick skull, he'll stay on the pitch. I'm not too worried about that. I'm more concerned at this point with keeping my runner healthy. Still my 3rd runner in, was it 9 games? Something like that. According to the Hall of Fame, he is the number 5 runner in the league. My man Armok right here. This is after starting in the middle of the season. If I'd have added it up together for his 2 predecessors, not only would he be the number 1 runner at well over 250 yards traversed, he'd certainly be within a shot of being the top scorer as well, as I believe I currently have something like 10 touchdowns for, only one of which wasn't scored by a runner. What could have been, eh? One of the team's few level 4 players had my poor guy Angtrek survived right at the beginning. Never mind, onwards and upwards. The Troll Slayer finally went down. It took 4 players to do it, so I'm still pretty happy about that. And all he's been done is knocked down, so he'll get up and still be a menace next turn. Having used his catcher and the blitzer and another thrower and a lineman to try and take him down, there are a lot less bodies threatening my cage. And I still have plenty of room to loop around this way. I've noticed this blitzer here, behind the smog. Ooh, burns a reroll, that was going to be bad news. He gets a stunned on the blocker. Just trying to get away, he's putting roadblocks down. Not really ideal, since I can still squeeze a 3x3 cage in here, but they're all on the edge of the pitch. It's going to take one dice block to send any number of players crowd surfing, and that's going to suck. However, we still have a way through. The Death Roller is not perturbed, and with his Juggernaut skill, he's certainly not going to worry about getting knocked down. It's really just a matter of picking a direction. I've got all the time in the world. It's only the 3rd turn for me, after all. And we have a considerable majority when it comes to capacity to fight. I've got so much guard and so much block. It's not even funny. Well, I think it's funny. The Amazons certainly don't. Question is, which way do I go? There are more players to the right, but they're not blitzers. As I've said, my Death Roller cares not for block skill with his Juggernaut, so I may move across to the side, rather than fight my way through 4 players when I can just take down one tricky one. And of course I could just blitz him with a blocker as well if I really have to. Of course, what we learned with the Necromantic team, who was a big bane to us early in the season, was that you always should leave room in your cage if your opponent doesn't have the leap skill. So if my guy does get pushed back, he's not automatically going to get crowd surfed. Same with this blocker here. So we've now got 3 points of a cage, and we can both down, which becomes a push thanks to Juggernaut on the blitzer. And again, base contact with the Death Roller, so she has to dodge away, basically. There's no other sensible thing for her to do unless she wants to get squished next turn. I've got the 3 important points of my cage. I've got room to move back into, fill up the edge, so yeah, people can get around the back. Less so now, thanks to Thorgrim. That's pretty safe. I know no one on the opponent team has leap. So we've pushed forward 2 or 3 more squares, we've got plenty of space where we're not going to get crowd surfed, and we've got the Death Roller doing the business at the front. Now we start marking up. Risk a go for it to put a tackle zone on the blitzer. She's got the dodge. It's something like an 85% chance she's going to succeed at dodging away from him, because he doesn't have the tackle skill. But it's one more dice roll they might not have wanted to make in the first place. So it's all good. Roadblocks again. 2 layers of players, so even if I do take down one, I immediately walk into another. So it's not like I can just keep moving further up as fast as I want. However, still plenty of space over here. I'm optimistic that if I can take down this blitzer, or the line woman in front of her, I can shuffle the ball 3 more squares forward to here, based with a death roller again, so not a problem. But let's see, something horrible might happen yet. There's still plenty of players over here, way out on the side, not causing me too many problems. But as soon as they close in around this edge, I'm kind of trapped, and the only way is forward. I don't really have a problem with that, I'll be quite honest with you. But it does limit my options, and if you're letting your opponent decide which direction you're moving, they have you at a disadvantage. Blitzer, I think he's planning to take down my blocker over here. It's not likely I'm going to try a pass to these guys, they're only agility 2. But if you can't get in the cage, then why not? At the very least, you can try and cause a couple of injuries and force me to really struggle in the next drive. Or not, as the case may be. Clearly some clockwork is ticking around through that little brain. Little? I apologise, that was rude, not little at all. That scheming dynamic brain of the Amazon coach. But no, they've decided they're going to pick on the Troll Slayer again and box in the cage, which is the best tactic you can do at this point until you get an opportunity to try and break in. I'd certainly think about dodging away that blitzer were I them. I certainly would have done it earlier than this, because those 2 attacks were completely incidental. And you never knew, when, say, a bad block would result in a both down. There you go. Again, she's got dodge. It's not likely she'd have failed that. But at the same time, why risk it if you don't have to? So now I'm blocked in. Even the Death Roller can't really get through this line. Multiple block only works as a block action, not as a blitz. So if I can take down one of these, it's only going to be one of these. And that leaves me only having pushed a couple of spaces forward, and my cage in base contact with at least 2 other players. That's a really good way of getting the Troll Slayer and possibly the blocker next to him knocked over, Death Roller or not. Fortunately, I've thought it through, and everyone on this side is a guard, so it's a minimum of a strength 4 wall down here, even on the Troll Slayer, who technically counts as strength 5 at this point, because he's got 2 friends nearby. So what we're going to do is pick a target. I've stood everyone up on the side, they're just hanging around getting in the way. 3 players of mine for 3 players of his, held back, fine by me. That's just less players for him to try and take on my behemoth over here. So we go for the line woman. She doesn't have any skills to worry about. And we get a push. Death Roller's letting me down a little bit today. I'm not terribly happy about that. Still, what can you do? Still time. Come on, Gruner. You're still in the brown armour of shame. You've got to try and earn your way back up to the top spot. So we do shuffle up. Again, plenty of guard. Plenty of tackle zones. I'm not too worried about my opponent dodging in, because that's, to get to there is a 5+ with a re-roll. Yeah, agility 3, so that's a 4, 5 for a tackle zone. All my guys are still guards. It's a bit of a risk, but with the Death Roller here looking after these 2 girls, stopping them being a problem, this is effectively them trying to take on a strength 5 guard here. try and knock him down with, well, at most 2 players, because you can only get an assist from this blitzer. This blitzer is based by these 2, so she's not going to count as an assist from this side. And because of guard, anyone coming over here is just going to get blocked away next turn. Ooh, tack her down, tack her down. So she took the swing I thought she was going to. So he's got a guard of his own, so that's 2 dice. That was the only real result they could have hoped for. 1 in 3 chance of taking down this blocker, moving in to upset my runner. Not really much else you can do though. You can't really get a blitzer in here, not with all these guards in the way. So just putting a tackle zone on the runner doesn't help. At this point, I think the best tactic would simply be just dodge 1 square back. So 1 girl here, here, here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The cage can only go 1 square forward. And then next turn 1 square forward. So then you run down the clock. So it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My guy can only move 6. Realistically, it's going to be 2 turns before he can even make a run for it. And doing that, he's going to have to dodge an awful lot to do it. With agility 3, he doesn't have the dodge skill. That's not realistically going to happen. At which point I'm up to turn 6 out of 8 for the half. And I can't score. I'm going to have to start getting desperate. But even then, he dodges 1 square away. I can only blitz 1 player at a turn. He's got 1 player here, another one there. Even getting this way, it's 2 dodge rolls, 3 dodge rolls to get by. How do you slow down the pay train? Well, you put down a roadblock. Instead, the Amazons are valiantly trying to fight their way in. Basing the blitzer doesn't help because he's also a guard, so that's still a strength 4, strength 5 player. You're going to have to try and blitz off his feet. And he's got the block skill because, well no, not because he's a dwarf, but because I know he's my runner and he needs it. Ooh, Red Skull. At long last, one of us turns over. 9 turns in. Okay. What do I do here? Well, I death roll the crap out of this line woman and also block the crap out of this blitzer. Just pushing her to the side is fine, because now I can block the line woman and knock her down and use the Troll Slayer to frenzy this line woman out of the way. And that gives me a clear run up the side. If I just, as I said, if I should put a guy here, even knocking them down, there'd still be someone in the way. Can we cause an injury? That would be ideal. KO. Alright, that's just as good. I'm happy with that. That's a player off the pitch. Whether it's an injury or otherwise is pretty much irrelevant for me. Ooh, greedy go for it. Trying to reform my cage, so if I can push this girl out the way and put my runner, say, here, he's then within striking range of the end zone. If I can crowd surf this lady, all the better. And we're going to. Yes! Perfect. So that's 2 players off the pitch in 1 turn. So again, we've got this big line of guards here. I can put my runner there in perfect safety, because it's going to be at least, well, it's going to be a dodge to get him there with 3 assists. He's going to count as strength 6, so it's 2 dice against. I am optimistic I would survive that. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can try and score next turn, turn 6. I don't think there was much more the Amazon player could have done there. As I said, just put bodies in the way. 3 players here, and then there's 3 tackle zones I've got to deal with. The Death Roller makes that really hard to consider, but at the same time it's not impossible. As it stands, it's come down to, well, the Dwarves are going to hurt you. They've got that much strength and that much damage on their side that trying to defend against them. Not easy. And it's basically come down to, well, do I want to survive for the next half? You can put bodies in the way here, certainly. I've still got 4 turns to chew through them. And with a multi-block death roller, I am going to chew through them. And it becomes a point, well, do I concede a touchdown and then receive the ball and go for the 2-1 in the next half? Which they can do, because they've got plenty of time to score in this half. Even more in the next. That's not a great idea, putting my blocker there. Because, yeah, I thought that through. If he'd have stayed there, potentially that could have become a crowd surf for the runner. Not likely, but it's doable. But at least here, no one's going to dodge in this way. They have to go the long way round. 1-2 dodges past the Troll Slayer into at least 2, maybe even 3 tackle zones to get in front of my runner. Well, that's probably the way to do it, in fact, because the Death Roll and the Troll Slayer, 2 of the players on the pitch who don't have the guard skill. So you put a player here to base them and then dodge in and go for the 1 dice on the runner. It's tricky, it's dangerous, but it's doable. But now what the Amazon wants to do is have 1, 2, 3, 4 players here. So that I can't run through. And with so many tackle zones, I'd have to basically... well, I'd have to blitz one out the way and hope it wasn't a push, and then block the next one next turn. It slows me down for at least a turn. And if I'm only moving from here, 1 square a turn, turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, any mistake... there we go, that's exactly what I was saying about. Any mistake is going to cost me a touchdown. It's probably looking very familiar at this point if you think back to the Leapers of Lorraine, the Wood Elf team we played last game. The first half came to a conclusion very, very similar to this. Everyone in both teams piled right up into the end zone. It looks like we might be getting that again, hopefully with the same result. But as I said, what you really need now are 2 players here. Even if you might get crowd surfed, you need to have a player here stopping me walking down the edge, and a player here putting a tackle zone on this corridor here, stopping me from just running past you. This is defensive, but it's still not necessarily going to be great. As both these players, I can crowd surf in 2 turns. Ooh, goes for the dodge. And uses a reroll to do it, okay. Good choice. Stopping these guys at this point isn't a priority. You're concerned about these 3 at the front, because these are the ones who are going to make the difference. What I'm inclined to do is crowd surf the blitzer with a blitz. So I want to get the assist off of this blocker, whatever else happens. And then I can move up my line. All I've got to deal with is the thrower. Unless, of course, he dodges some players into the end zone, which he may well do. And that would probably be the best thing he could do. Again, 2 players here. Only one of them is going to get crowd surfed. The other one is still going to provide a tackle zone. And my runner is not up for dodging through tackle zones. He's got the ball, he's delicate, with only agility 3 and no dodge skill. Again, I was saying, you know, do you let them score or don't you? Yep, dodge lets you down there. Ooh, serious injury. Dead! Does he stay? She stay dead? No. So that's still a really good result. I've got rid of a blitzer, who is a really dangerous player, and I've used up the apothecary sort of fairly early in the game. So now I can tuck my runner into this little gap here, surround him with more guards, dare them to dodge in, Tackle, 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 tackle. Base the catcher and the blitzer to force them to try and risk some dice rolls. But at this point, it's looking promising. I can put a tackle zone on the thrower and then frenzy her off the pitch and simply run in for the touchdown. Or if necessary, I can just move people out of the way and run in this side for the touchdown as well, because it's... Okay, it's still a dodge. But if these guys move out of the way, as I'm fairly sure they will, it's not going to be anything like as dangerous. Basically, I have to move the thrower. And between a Troll Slayer and a Death Roller, that's going to happen. There you go, that's what you wanted last turn. You're not going to crowd surf the Troll Slayer, so don't worry about that. But again, I'm one blitz away from a touchdown. I have to knock out either the thrower, or even just knock down the thrower or the catcher. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 5, 6 to touchdown. I think the Amazon player knows this, because he's making a lot of awkward moves to try and just injure my players by the looks of it. He wants to take down the Troll Slayer. Fair enough, he can do that, I don't mind. But it is for naught. That doesn't help you because the tackle zone's not in the route. Again, I just have to move this blocker out the way and we're all good. Both of them are guards, so as long as I take down the catcher, agility, dodge, blodge. Okay, we'll take down the thrower, dodge, blodge, block and dodge. Hello. Use my Saturday tongue. Okay, not great, but I need a push or stumble. Okay, that'll do it. Perfect move there. Lineman in the way. I don't have anyone in base contact. Yeah, what I do here is I put a guy there and a guy there and try and crowd surf the lineswoman. Or even just push her to here. So I go 1, 2, 3, no. How do I do this? I can get through, I know I can. It's a blitz to do it. Which one is it? Catches in the way line. If any one of these weren't there, it'd be easy. Of course, that's Blood Bowl, isn't it? If it was easy, you wouldn't be doing it. So do we play the slow game? Yeah, we do that. We've got a turn in hand. It's risky. I probably shouldn't be doing it, actually. However, I've got the muscle, and now these guys have got to make a choice, because someone is going to get crowd surfed. And the Death Roller's fired up to do something interesting this turn. Body's in the way, everyone's marked up. Still only 1 dice over here for everyone involved. No one's getting in the back, no one's getting in the side. I've got 3 good blocks and the 2 blitzers rolled up next turn. Stumbles, okay, pushed out of the way, fine, quite happy. What? No. Yeah. No. Why have I done that? I don't think it really matters. I could have put it here. And then blocked these 3 players in. Actually, that would have probably been the better idea. But at this point it doesn't matter, because the Troll Slayer is going to take care of at least one of these, probably the thrower, actually. Push it to here, and straight off. Oh no, Troll Slayer. You forsake me. Why have you done that? You've pushed that girl right in the way. So she stands up. Yeesh. Okay, still not a problem. I can multi-block those 2 out of the way with the Death Roller, just push them a square back. And then, yeah, then I can just walk in. Okay, that kind of works. It was more complicated than it had to be, but I can multi-block these 2 out of the way, or even just block them with the Troll Slayer. I've got 3 chances of getting the thrower out of the way with the blocker, and the Troll Slayer. It really shouldn't need that many. It'll need 1 just to push it to here. And then we walk 1, 2, 3 for a touchdown. The best laid plans, of course. Worst case scenario, the Amazons don't score and we end the half 0-0 with injuries on their side. Where are they? That's my dugout. Injuries on their side and none on mine. They would be receiving the ball, however, I've got plenty of tackle and plenty of guys to replace my death roller, so I'm not too worried about that. Try and take down my blocker. Stand firm from good old Madrong on my star players. I think he's the only... No, he's not the only killer. He's the highest scoring for injuries on my team. I think he's got about 5 in the last 8 matches. But this is desperately trying to fight his way through. Ooh, everyone's got guard. He gets defender down on the blocker. Not a problem. That blocker's not doing anything but being an annoyance. It tries 1 dice on my other blocker. Doesn't come to anything. Again, probably still wouldn't have, given the nature of how many players are around. I mean, the worst thing to do is knock that player over. Okay, that's just helped me out, in fact, because now I don't have to risk blocking this guy out the way. I can move to here. So this guy pushes them out the way. I can go 1, 2, 1. I want a blitzer anyway. No, yeah, it would have been a dodge with a reroll. But if I blitzer out the way, it's just a walk. I don't have to roll any more dice at this point. We're straight in. Turn 8, touchdown. Angtrak Axebeard Axe saves the day once again. My unnamed cheerleader showing off some typical Dwarven agility. Oh, that's a lot of Amazons getting back up. We don't like that. Okay, not ideal, but it could be a lot worse. No one in the Dwarf dugout. Happy to see that, apart from my 2 substitutes. Okay, bye-bye Death Roller. You've got a couple of injuries, so we're happy about that. We're not too worried about you going off just yet. So the Amazons have 1 turn to try and make something. So all I'm going to do is spread out across, put down all my blockers instead of my runner, who's gone off the pitch. He can get round me, don't even care, he can't score. This is his chance to try and cause some injuries, but of course my line is currently counting as strength 4 minimum across the board. Quite a lot of it is strength 5. This turn I think is a formality. He's going to get 1 star player point from passing the ball, providing I don't mess up the kick and put it, say, here, which would be lovely, but the way I roll suggests that's not going to happen. Feeling good. It's a bit cheeky, lining up like this, but we both know he can't score. He doesn't have the skills or the stats necessary to get a 1-turn touchdown just yet. I think he can about do it if he gets +2 movement and sprint. That becomes 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so he could potentially rig a 1-turn touchdown with a level 3 player, some very, very lucky skill-ups, but it's not likely. Where's the ball then? Middle of nowhere right next to his thrower. Don't even care. Amazon player gets her reroll back thanks to brilliant coaching. Again, I think the game is trying to tell me something. The Amazon has a better coach than the Dwarves, which is just plain insulting. But let's see what they do. Do they try and take a kick at a couple of my players? No, he goes for some time in the Dwarven half, just to try and change the statistics at the end of the match. They don't amount to anything, but you never know, he might get lucky. Uses his last re-roll and a greedy go for it. Didn't need to do that at all, but you know, it might cost him a star player point. It's not going to get him a level up. Ah, I see. So he uses the highest skilled one to throw it, gets to 15. So He's looking to level up this throw this match. Don't really fault that. I do it myself. So all she needs are 2 good throws. One she'll get this half, quite likely. The next she'll get 2 in the next half when she receives again. And there you go. That's what you get for being greedy. Such is the way the dice roll. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Blood Bowl Chaos Edition, the GITP not Legacy League, the normal league. Ironbeards 1, measured response 0, going into the second half, feeling good. Thank you for watching, take care, bye bye.